I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. The city of Tampa held a budget workshop last night as Tampa City Council considers a property tax increase presented by the mayor's office to address a host of problems in need of fixing: broken roads and sidewalks, old fire stations, parks, and after-school programs for children were all part of the presentations by city departments, making cases for why the property tax increase will help with much-needed improvements across the board. But with rising inflation and rising insurance rates, some members on council were concerned that adding the additional cost for homeowners would be too much to bear. Tampa resident Gail Pallardy-Like suggested that raising the millage rate is not the best solution.
When you raise the millage, it raises the taxes on every single piece of property that's not exempted, which there are numerous ones that are exempted, like the Raymond James Stadium, Amalie Arena, Yankees Field. They're not paying any taxes. So if you want to be creative about coming up with more taxes, maybe we could tax their ticket sales, tax their parking. Taylor Swift brought in a lot of money in 3 days in Tampa, and I don't know what the taxpayers got from that.
Addressing affordable housing and renters' concerns were also at the core of the meeting. Councilmember Guido Maniscalco asked Nicole Travis, who is an administrator of development and economic opportunity, whether landlords will just raise the rent if the millage were passed anyway.
Is it just in turn going to continue burdening the renter? That's because the landlord has to pay. The landlord's gonna, is the one that's paying the property taxes and the maintenance on top of rising insurance rates and then having to answer to the bank. Is it counterproductive?
In a short answer, no. You can't afford not to invest in affordable housing. You can't afford not to invest in affordable housing. And yes, the property owners may pass some of that rent on to renters, but if you look at the last slide, if you do nothing, we only get to add 68 new units with the current funding that we have. If you were to increase the millage increase, you get to 40 times more units you get to add to the inventory. If you don't invest in housing, the supply and demand problem is going to continue to persist, and your rental rates are going to continue to go up.
Travis likened housing availability to a pressure cooker and said releasing the pressure is necessary. And Councilmember Alan Clendenin said the time to act on these issues is now.
When is the right time? If we allow the roads, we've heard from staff that if we allow these roads to erode further, it's going to cost us exponentially more money to rebuild 5 times. Thank you, Councilwoman. 5 times more money in some future date to dig those roads up and repave them. If we don't build those sidewalks and service these schools and provide safety, safe access to these playgrounds and schools, at what cost? The safety costs of a child, or we already know we have a huge problem with pedestrian fatalities. So at what cost? The time of doing those things is now.
Nicole Travis was called back up to the dais and offered frustration that more had not been done on her prior housing recommendations.
If you do not invest in housing now, it will not be any better next year. Your community will suffer significantly from the lack of housing affordability in this community, and it will be a detriment to this economy. And so I'm saying it as nicely as I can, even though I'm hangry and tired. I've been before you, and I've brought everything that you've asked us to do. Some things you have not acted on, and I have been said that I seem like not as passionate about housing anymore, and it's not that. Is that we keep coming before you and telling you what we need. We brought policy for you to act on, and you have not acted on it. So I'm showing you what we need. We have a plan for it, and I'm asking for your indulgence to support the most vulnerable in our community.
The city will make a final decision on the millage increase and the city budget in September. Recent laws in Florida that some call hostile towards minorities have caused many organizations to cancel conventions in the state. However, WMNF's Chris Young reports that the Tampa Convention Center has seen its busiest summer yet.
In nearby Orlando, Governor DeSantis' policies caused cancellations of several major events. National Society of Black Engineers and Alpha Phi Alpha, the nation's oldest black fraternity, are just some of the organizations that canceled. However, things are different in Tampa. Kirsten Albert is the communications coordinator for the Tampa Convention Center.
So we've had a very busy summer, our busiest summer in history as far as the number of events and attendance.
They've seen events such as the Tampa Bay Comic-Con and Black fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi's National Convention. She says some clients have expressed concern, but they haven't lost any contracts.
The city of Tampa and the Tampa Convention Center is a welcoming, inclusive destination, regardless of anyone's background. And we are very proud of that status.
One event next month, SneakerCon, is expected to bring in about 3,500 attendees. For WMNF News, I'm Chris Young.
The Biden administration yesterday urged the U.S. Supreme Court to take up a challenge to a 2021 Florida law that placed restrictions on major social media companies, arguing that parts of the law violate the First Amendment. Department of Justice attorneys filed a brief saying that the Supreme Court should hear arguments about the Florida law and a similar Texas law. The brief also said justices should uphold an 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruling that blocked parts of the Florida law. The industry groups NetChoice and the Computer Communications Industry Association challenged the constitutionality of the Florida law, which placed restrictions on large social media companies such as Facebook and Twitter, now known as X. Governor Ron DeSantis made a priority of the issue after Twitter and Facebook blocked former President Donald Trump and their platforms after Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. For the weather, it's warm and clear in the Tampa Bay area. There's a heat advisory in effect from 11 this morning until 7 this evening. The heat index values will be up to 112 degrees Fahrenheit. Our website, WMNF.org, has information about the symptoms of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Overnight lows will be just below 80. Scattered afternoon thunderstorms expected today and the rest of the week. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines on 88.5 FM and the WMNF app.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.